Why do we find it so hard to change, and why do most people don't even try? Hey guys, my name is Jamil Senior and I provide coaching for people just like you in the link that is in the description. So go click that if you're looking to improve your life in any way. Now, just this morning, I was listening to the story of Jesus Christ when he comes back from the desert, from being tempted by the devil and all these things. Now, I'm not here to tell you what to believe or tell you you should follow this religion or that religion. I really don't care. It's really up to you. What I'm here to basically share with you is the value of the story, which I think it can apply to every single person, regardless of what you believe. So basically in the story, right after when Jesus goes to the desert, is tempted by the devil, and comes back to his hometown and starts, predicating in a synagogue to people in his hometown, he realizes quickly that the people in his hometown are not really receptive to his message. And so he says this. He says, no prophet is accepted in his hometown. Now, why is this important? Why is this relevant? Why am I even discussing this story? It's because it's relative to something that is very, very ingrained in all of us and that keeps us many times from changing meaningfully in our lives. And that's two things. Number one is learned helplessness. And number two is the law of familiarity. Now, first of all, let's talk about learned helplessness. Learned helplessness is basically this idea that whatever we've already experienced in the past is going to keep happening in the future. That means that if you tried to start a business and you failed miserably, if you ever try to start a business again, you're also going to fail every single time. We've created this idea in our mind, and we've sort of learned in some way, we've sort of learned to be helpless in this situation. Many people experience this in terms of addiction, in terms of eating habits, in terms of exercise habits, in terms of their relationships. We experience this all over the place. Whenever we're trying to make any kind of significant change in our lives, we basically look at the things that have happened before, and if we haven't had any type of success before, we start telling ourselves it's not going to happen. It's impossible. We can't possibly change this for the better because look at what's gone on in the past, which is not an indication of what will happen in the future, but we believe it to be. And in a certain way, we've learned to be helpless in this situation, and therefore we don't even try to change this situation anymore. And the second thing is the law of familiarity. The law of familiarity states that whatever we are familiar with, we are going to seek out. Well, what does that mean? It means that maybe we might even self-sabotage so many times. We might even know what to do, but not do it. We might know the solution to a problem, but do the absolute opposite to that because we are familiar with it, because it's comfortable to us, because it's what we've learned to accept in our lives. So many people have been in toxic relationships and stay in those toxic relationships because it's familiar, because it's what they know. I know this because this is exactly what happened to me. I was in a very toxic relationship, but I didn't get out of it immediately because I always thought to myself, well, what happens if I don't find anybody? What happens if I spend my life alone for the rest of my life? And this fear of not having what was already familiar to me kept me in a very terrible situation that led me to have all sorts of problems, not just physically, mentally, spiritually, and all because I was just familiar with the situation. So think about times in your life where you have given up on great things or great opportunities, or maybe you didn't even take action on something you knew you wanted just because you were familiar with it, or because you wanted to stay comfortable, you stay in your little bubble as the things you already know, well, at least you know them. right? At least this is familiar. Even if it's not fulfilling to you, even if it doesn't make you happy, even if it actually makes you miserable, at least you know it. And our brain is designed this way as well. Our brain wants us to stay with what is familiar because the unknown can be very painful sometimes. So what's the way out of this situation? What's the way out of the law of familiarity and the way out of learned helplessness? The way out of this is, I guess the best way to describe it is by using the word faith. The word faith is not reserved for people who follow a certain religion, okay? It's something that anybody can use in regards to anything that they want to pursue in life. And the reason why I use this particular word is because it evokes a very specific mindset. The idea basically is that there is no evidence that you will succeed. There is no proof that you've succeeded in the past. There's nothing to really back up the idea that you could succeed. However, you believe that you can succeed regardless of the situation, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of what's happened in the past. So that's why I use the word faith instead of using the word like belief or confidence or something like that. I use the word faith very intentionally because faith requires no evidence. It requires no background. It requires no proof. It just requires you having enough belief that you can do something, that you follow through with it. Now, how can you develop this faith? You develop this faith by practicing the same things that you already practice. See, you've already practiced this a million times in your mind. However, you practice it in a different direction. It's called fear. And fear is the opposite of faith. It's basically believing that something terrible is going to happen with no evidence. It's the same. It's the same idea. You have no proof this is going to go bad. You have no evidence this is going to go bad. There's no precedent really to affirm 100% that this is going to go bad, but you believe it so much that it paralyzes you, or it leads you to act in a way that is not beneficial to you and the people around you. So what I'm saying is not change the way you act. It's basically changing your focus. Instead of using your imagination, using your mental focus to see everything that could possibly go wrong, shift that focus into everything that could possibly go right. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one.